Hi everyone, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you my build for the 3 Blind Mice Pig Challenge, otherwise known as the Paint It Green Challenge. For this I'm going to be using this Zuru Poison Ivy cat. So onto the build, I decided to replace the windows with mesh, and I do this by just cutting out a small piece roughly about the same size as the window and then just curling it around the window. I just trim off the excess around the edges, just to make sure it fits. As you can see, it fits in places that are a bit more trimming. And then I just use some super glue to glue it in place, and I do this the same. I do exactly the same for the rear window. Onto the wheels. For this I decided to just do a simple wheel swap, and decided to use some Chemistry Designs wheels. These are the regular width. These are the regular width wheels. I think they're 16mm fatties. Just gives you more tyre. The tyre's type 7 and the rim is rim 8. Off camera I'd already cut some styrene tubing to use axles. As you can see, I'm just putting it together here. So next I move on to mounting a gun onto the roof. For this I want to use a PIG system, just so later on when I'm painting this I don't get a lot of paint build up around the gun. If you just glue the gun in place. Whereas if you use the PEG system, I can paint the gun and the body separately and then put them together later. And I don't have all that horrible paint build-up around the edges of the gun. So you can see I'm just using my little pin drill here and just drilling the hole in the roof and then just drilling the hole in the gun. The gun is from the Northstar military figures implements of Carnage Sprue. It's their dual 50 cal. So off camera, I put the chrome piece in some bleach in a little jam jar. Just de-chromed it. This is something that 2A HD Cat told me about. It's a very effective way of getting the chrome off if you don't have access to some stuff. Though I would suggest washing it in soapy water afterwards, because obviously you've left it soaked in bleach and you don't want to get the bleach in your hands and then get in your eyes and such. And obviously you do want to keep it in a well ventilated area. So obviously for the driver I'm just using this World War II 172 scale British soldier that I bought a bunch from off eBay. Unfortunately I do have to cut this guy's legs off to make him fit in the car. So next I start by painting the body of the car. Obviously since it's painted green, I'm painting it green and I'm using Revell Aqua Color Fern Green. Next I move on to painting the engine, bumper and exhausts, this rust colour which is Revell Rust Colour. While both of those two pieces are drying, I decided to paint the tyres, which again I just used for some Revell matte black. So after this I paint the underside base plate with the same rust colour. I also paint the mesh on the windows this colour. And then I also paint the centre hubs on the wheels, and then do a bit of cleanup after, because I'm not that precise a painter. So next I do my usual technique of dry brushing some silver over the top of the rust. This is Revell Metallic Silver. I'm doing this on the engine, the exhaust and the bumpers. Do the same for the windows. For the guns I use Revell Steel. So moving back onto the car, now I usually would just paint the car rust, then dry brush on the paint afterwards, but I wanted to kind of make this a little less rusty. Unfortunately, as you can see, I can just go over the top anyway, just dry brushing the rust on top of the paint. And then go over the top of that with Games Effects Oxide Rust Paint, although any orange will do. It's just add another layer of rust to the top, because obviously the surface rust is going to be oxidized and have that nice bright orange. I also use this to go over the top of the exhausts too, because those will be quite weathered, and I usually like to do a bright orange exhaust because they really will rust out quick with the heat. So next I paint the brake lights using Revell Fiery Red. And I paint the headlights using Revell Silk Matte Beige. And go back and paint the front splitter on the base plate, nice matte black. So here I'm just going to go over the wheel ashes again, just because when you're dry brushing it doesn't always get into the tiny little areas, and obviously rust would build up in these areas, so I have to go back and do it again. So for the interior I use a Revell Matte Dark Earth. And I paint the soldier's uniform a Revell Light Olive. And then obviously I use a Revell Flesh for the skin. And then I finish off the build with my usual custom black wash that I mixed up myself. I might have to make a video on this, but it changes the recipe every time I make it, because it's just anything and everything goes into it until it looks about the right consistency. I'll try and make a video on that at some point, because I know there'll probably be a bunch of other people like me who don't want to spend a lot of money on paints when they can just kind of make their own for cheap. So I'll hopefully get around to that soon. And here's the finished build. I decided to keep this one a bit simple, mostly because I like the casting to begin with, as well as the fact I've been quite busy lately and I've got a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't have as much time to spend on this as I would have liked. Overall, I still think it turned out quite well, even for a very simplistic build, because I think obviously the painting has really brought this one to life. So I would recommend Zuru cars for anyone who's wanting cars for Gaslands, just because the bodies are made of plastic, so they're a lot easier to work with, as well as they're usually quite detailed and look pretty cool anyway. So, you know, all you need to really do is slap a gun on there, repaint it, and you've got yourself a very nice looking Gaslands car. If you like this build, you should definitely check out some of the other builders who took part in the 3 Blind Mice's Pig Challenge. You can just search 3 Blind Mice Pig Challenge and you should get a bunch of build videos up from other builders, so check them out. Like usual, there'll be some glamour shots up at the end here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.